Mr. Penley, have you ever testified under oath before today?
Yes, I've testified under oath.
Did you testify under oath before the House Board of Managers?
No.
Did any of the House Board of Managers, Andrew Murr, Jeff Leach, Charlie Guerin, any of them put you under oath to provide testimony in connection with the impeachment proceedings in the House?
No, I did not testify in the House.
In fact,
not in a proceeding in the House. I did speak with their investigators.
Did you review the video of your meeting with the investigators before testifying here today?
No.
And during that proceeding, isn't it true that Ms. Therese Buse, who was hired as one of the investigators, told you that there was a legislative privilege that covered your testimony in that proceeding?
I don't know that she told me that. It was my understanding there was a legislative privilege.
Just to be clear, when you testified there on video, did you tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, that was my intent.
Yes, and it was your intent.
Yeah, I mean, I may have gotten a date wrong. I may have gotten an event occurred one day instead of another day, but it was my intention to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Yes, sir.
Of course. So if we have your statement from that interview that was conducted by the House Board of Managers and their investigators, we can rely on it as being true, correct?
I believe so. That was my intention.
All right. At this time, Your Honor, I'm going to introduce AG Exhibit 68. May I approach the witness?
Yes, you may.
Thank you.
It's not on our list, so you'll have to submit it at the right time.
And we move for admission of AG Exhibit 68.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Admit AG 68 to evidence.
Eric, Exhibit 68, if you would. Thank you so much. All right, to be clear, Mr. Penley, this is the referral that came to your office from the Travis County District Attorney's Office, and it was dated June 10 of 2020, correct?
That's correct.
It's received in your office sometime around June 17 of 2020, correct?
That's my understanding, yes.
And when you got this, neither David Maxwell nor you were excited about the assignment at all, and neither one of you really wanted to move forward with it, correct?
That's true.
And what Nate Paul was accusing these people here, or at least complaining about, if true, it was a 20-year felony. You would agree with that, correct?
An alteration of a federal or a document, yes, it would be a 20-year felony.
And there's a state analog to the federal statute concerning alteration of government documents, true?
Yes, I believe that's 3710.
So there was a state offense that had been alleged in this referral, true?
He was claiming there were state law offenses, yes.
Yes, that's what I said. There is a state offense alleged in this referral, true?
Yes, if you believe what Nate Paul was saying.
Yes, and it wasn't a crime to follow up on this. It wasn't obstruction of justice. It wasn't interference with an FBI investigation. True?
To a certain point, I agree.
Very good. In fact, when you were working at the U.S. Attorney's Office, there was an FBI employee in the U.S. Attorney's Office, or I'm sorry, in the Northern District of Texas. His name was Jeffrey Fudge. Do you remember that person?
I don't.
He was an FBI employee who was accused, indicted, and convicted of plugging other people's information into government databases and letting them know if there were investigations about them. You familiar with that?
I'm not.
It happened your first year at the U.S. Attorney's Office.
Pardon me, Your Honor. We're talking about something he doesn't know anything about. Now he's testifying about it, and I object to that.
Overruled. He can ask the question, but be careful of your line of questioning.
I certainly will. Have you ever heard of an FBI employee named Kevin Kleinsmith?
I believe so.
Yes. At the same time that you were doing this investigation, an FBI employee was being investigated and subsequently indicted for providing false information in pursuit of a FISA warrant. Correct?
I've heard that.
Operation Crossfire Hurricane, you've heard of that before, correct?
I have.
Yes. And so the allegations that are being made here, it's not a crime to follow up on them, and a state offense is alleged. True?
I felt it was appropriate to do an initial review.
Object, not responsive.
Sustained.
True?
Could you ask the question again, please?
Yes. The state offenses that are alleged here, it wasn't a crime to follow up on them, was it?
No, it wasn't a crime to follow up.
No. But Your testimony earlier was you hope to slow walk it.
Yes.
Did you tell Michael Wynn that?
No.
Did you tell Nate Paul that?
No.
Did you tell your boss Ken Paxton that?
No.
And in fact, between June 17 and July 6, 2020, you only talked to David Maxwell about it, right?
Between what dates?
June 17 and July 6 of 2020, you only talked to David Maxwell about it.
That's not correct.
That was your testimony on direct. Would you like to correct it?
I would, if I may.
Please.
I'm sure I talked to Jeff Mateer as well. In fact, we talked to Jeff Mateer when he handed us the referral on June the 18th, probably.
We may be talking past one another. You did no investigation between June 17 and July 6. True?
We didn't do any, no.
Didn't do any work. True?
That's true.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's been marked as AG Exhibit 88. We move for admission of AG 88.
Any objection, Mr. Hardin?
No, Your Honor.
It's admitted to evidence, AG 88, 68. I'm sorry, say that number.
88.
88, I see it. Thank you.
Mr. Arroyo, if you could publish AG 88 on Bates page HBOM 181004. So move ahead 3 pages from there. And blow up all the text and writing at the top, please. These are your notes, Mr. Penley, from your meeting with Ken Paxton on July 6th of 2020. True?
Yes.
And in that meeting, at the top you write, tampering with docs is a state issue per Mindy of Travis County. Who's Mindy?
Mindy Monford, the first assistant at the Travis County District Attorney's Office.
Did she tell you that?
No.
You didn't know enough state law to know that there was a state offense alleged at this point in time, did you?
That's incorrect.
So you knew there was a state offense alleged. You didn't need Ken Paxton or Mindy Monford to tell you that. True?
I believe I discussed that with David Maxwell.
You learned it from David Maxwell, right?
I believe so.
Did you look up the law yourself?
I did.
Good. Next line says he alleged they changed the search warrant. The next line after that, if you would read that to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, please.
Ken just wants the truth, period.
Ken just wants the truth. And to be clear for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, who is Ken?
That's Attorney General Ken Paxton.
He told you he just wanted the truth. True?
He said he did.
Yeah, and you believed him at the time. True? True?
At the time I believed him, yes.
Yes, at the time you believed him.
That's right, but
Okay.
not later.
And so when you made these notes, you were making notes of what Ken Paxton was saying, and he was telling you he just wanted the truth.
That's right, I wrote down what he said.
The truth about what?
About what happened with Nate Paul.
And did you tell him you would get right on it?
We did. We started trying to schedule a meeting.
I don't think so. Let's move on to
Object
our
to the
next exhibit.
sidebar.
Withdrawn.
Sustained.
This is another portion of Exhibit AG 88. Mr. Arroyo, if you could move to the next page, .5. Mr. Penley, these are your notes of a subsequent meeting with your boss, Ken Paxton, true?
Yes.
And if you could, Mr. Arroyo, blow up the bottom half of that page, please. The date of this meeting is on or around July 16. Yes?
Well, that's my best belief. I didn't date this page, and I don't know specifically when it was, but from looking at other information, that's my belief. This happened on July 16th.
And how long had you been working at the Attorney General's office at this point?
About 9 months.
About 9 months, less than a year, certainly. True?
Yes, I only worked there a year.
And you wrote the word "can" and you bolded it, correct?
Yes.
Mr. Arroyo, can you bold that? Can you highlight that for me? And to the right of it, you wrote an asterisk and it says, "He's embarrassed."
That's what he said.
He was embarrassed with you and David Maxwell. True?
He was embarrassed at the lack of progress on the Nate Paul matter.
Because you hadn't done anything. True?
That's true.
Below it says, "We've had this for 6 weeks!" exclamation point. And Ken Paxton was upset with you that in 6 weeks, you and David Maxwell had done nothing. True?
Which part of the question do you want me to answer first? You asked me if we'd had it for 6 weeks. That is true. And it's also true we had done no investigating in that 6 weeks.
Ken Paxton was upset that you had done nothing for 6 weeks on a referral from Travis County that he was aware of. True?
That's true.
Down, if you would, there's some discussion about Texas Monthly. Do you see the all caps statement that you wrote in your notes?
I do.
And Mr. Arroyo, if you would highlight that portion and the portion below it and the line below it, you're on it. And below it, it says, "Seek the truth," 2 exclamation points. And that's what your boss, Ken Paxton, told you to do. True?
That's what he said. I wrote down what he said.
And what he said was to tell you to seek the truth. Yes?
Yes, that's what he said, and that's what we did.
And below that it says, "Let results be what they are." True?
That's what he said, and that's what I wrote down. True.
And at that point in time, in that day, he did not tell you to interfere with an FBI investigation, did he?
Not that day, no.
He did not tell you to obstruct justice, did he?
Not that day, no.
No, he didn't. Mr. Arroyo, if you would, please bring up Exhibit 1, AG 1009. This has already been entered into evidence, Mr. President, before the break. Exhibit AG 1009 is on the screen here, and these are your notes from July 23, 2020, true?
Correct.
And these are notes from your review of Nate Paul's earlier meeting with David Maxwell, of which you were not a participant, true?
That's true.
Yes. And in the middle, Mr. Arroyo, it says the agents didn't. If you can highlight that portion. It says the agents didn't leave search warrants behind. Violation of the law. True?
No, it's not a violation of the law.
Is the Federal Code of Criminal Procedure the law or not?
It's a procedural code. It's not a statute.
Okay. They broke the law as expressed in the Code of Criminal Procedure. True?
They broke the procedural rules of the Federal Code of Criminal Procedure, if that was true.
Let's turn the page. Next page, Mr. Arroyo. In the middle of the page, there's a section that says metadata on PDF. You could zoom in on that. It says, actually don't zoom in on that whole thing, just get the line below that as well, was created on 9/6. Can you read that okay, Mr. Penley?
I can, thank you.
Very good. It says metadata on PDF was created on 9/6.
Yes.
You would agree with me if someone was manipulating federal search warrants after they had already been served or after they had already been created, that is a problem, yes?
Could you repeat the question? You said manipulated. I don't understand what you mean.
If someone were changing search warrants after a judge signed them, that would be bad. True?
I'd agree if they were changing the text.
Yes, not just redactions, but changing the actual text, right?
If they were changing the text that the magistrate judge had approved, that would be a crime.
And the next page, if you would, Mr. Arroyo. About 3/4 of the way down, there's a paragraph that says claim above an asterisk. If you could zoom in on that for us. No, above that, please. The next paragraph above. Yeah, the allegation here is that the search warrant for the file storage company, Contigo, was fabricated after the fact. Yes?
That was Mr. Paul's allegation, yes.
All right. Next page, please. And on the last page, you wrote the notes, Ronnie Saban, TFO. That stands for Task Force Officer. Yes?
Yes.
State Securities Board. Yes?
Yes.
How did he get the name Ronnie Saban?
Well, I know that he met Ronnie Saban because he claimed that Ronnie Saban had been executing the search at his residence, and they spoke to each other.
So what you're saying is, I don't want to put words in your mouth, Nate Paul knew Ronnie Saban was involved with the search warrant because he met him during the execution of the search warrant, correct?
Yes, he had personal knowledge of Ronnie Saban because he met him during the search.
Not because Nate Paul got some secret document from someone else, true?
No, that's absolutely false, and you misstated my testimony.
Object is non-responsive to everything after no.
Sustained.
Now, we're going to look at AG Exhibit 110. Mr. Arroyo, if you would, AG Exhibit, I'm sorry, not 110, 1010. There we go. All right. These are your notes from a meeting with Michael Wynn on July 28th of 2020, true?
Those are my notes from a phone call with Michael Wynn, that's correct.
Yes, a phone call. And at the top it says, wants to come to Austin to explain papers. Yes?
Yes.
And below that says the agents didn't leave copies at the premises, but you already knew that, true?
I knew that from reviewing the first meeting, the July 21st meeting video, yes.
Next line down says inconsistent signatures and stamps. Yes?
That's what I wrote down because that's what Mr. Wynn told me, yes.
Yeah. And these notes are from a phone call in advance of an August 5, 2020 meeting with Mr. Wynn and his lawyer. Yes?
Correct. We set that meeting date during this call.
Yes. And by this point in time, Mr. Penley, had you done any investigating at all?
Yes.
And what did that include?
Well, it included watching the video of the July 21st meeting where Mr. Maxwell met with Mr. Wynn and Mr. Paul, listened to their complaints, listened to their theories. So I'd reviewed all that, and he wanted to come have a second meeting, and I agreed to it.
All you did was listen to them at this point in time, true?
Yes, that was an initial report.
Object not responsive to everything after yes.
Can a witness finish his answer, please?
Sustain the objection. Overrule your objection.
I'm going to show you what.
Please let him have time to finish.
I will do my best. Now we're going to look at Exhibit 1011, AG Exhibit 1011. And these are your notes from a meeting with Nate Paul and Michael Wynn, true?
Yes, that's the August 5th meeting.
And you can see there by your first asterisk, hold on, it says thumb drive of docs produced.
That's true.
They gave you a thumb drive.
They did, yes.
And I want you to scroll down. Do you see the line that says J Lane?
Yes, I see that.
This J Lane said he didn't have the original search warrant. Yes?
Well, I don't know if he did or he didn't. That's what Michael Wynn told me.
Yes. And so what Michael Wynn told you in this meeting is that the magistrate, the federal magistrate judge, informed them that he did not have the original search warrant. True?
That's what Michael Wynn said, true.
And if that were true, that would be really surprising if a federal magistrate, for whatever reason, did not have the original search warrant. Yes?
Yes, that would surprise me.
Did you ever look for the original search warrant?
How would I do that, sir?
Did you call anyone?
I raised that with the Attorney General and the First Assistant that was an option.
Object non-responsive. That was not my question.
Sustained.
Did you call anyone at the magistrate's office, a clerk, a deputy clerk, the magistrate himself? Yes or no?
No, I never called the federal magistrate or his staff.
Did you call Alan Bowie, perhaps?
No, I did not.
Did you call any of his deputies at the U.S. Attorney's office?
I did not.
How hard would that have been to do?
It would have been problematic in my view.
it would have damaged your reputation and the office's reputation potentially, true?
Not my reputation. I wasn't concerned about that. I was concerned about the reputation of the office and our work with the federal authorities in the state of Texas.
For you to call the feds, you would have worried that that would have harmed the reputation of the office.
Not to make a phone call, but
then
to make
why didn't you do it?
Because a phone call about this seemed to be high risk to the functioning of the Office of the Attorney General when we needed to work with federal authorities or appear in federal court, which our attorneys did all the time.